Hi guys, and welcome to an actor's notebook. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about my casting director showcase that I just did in New York. It was through Acting and Voice Studios. I told you guys I was going to do a vlog in my last vlog about kind of like the experience for those of you who are interested. This is just my personal experience. It could be different for everyone else. Really, I think it also depends on kind of what level you are in the business. But yeah, so let's get started. So I had a casting director showcase. There were 5 casting directors to show up. It was for TV and film. Most of them did independent films or TV shows. Some of them did both film and stage as well. These people never really met before. Some of them I had seen the name on some of the things that I applied for before, but didn't know any of them personally. So it started out with a Q&A. Started at 6:30. Started out with Q&A, where we can just kind of ask questions about the business. There was a lot of people in there. One thing that I do like about film is it tends to be more diverse. However, I was still the only black woman there. There were other people like Hispanic men, some Hispanic females, black men were there. I was just the only black woman that came to this one. I don't know why. But yeah, so, and I would say there was probably like, I don't know, 30 of us in the room. And so we started out with a Q&A. One of our casting directors came late, but he came. So we started Q&A a little bit before he came in. They introduced themselves, told us about like what they do, what they cast. There was no guarantee that you would get cast in any of their shows afterwards. It was just kind of to be put on their file, because each of them gets your headshot and resume, and then you get to perform for them. So with the Q&A, some people asked some questions. Some of the questions I already knew the answers to. Some of them I already told you guys. There was a question about type, and the casting directors often said they don't like to refer to it as a type. But later on in the showcase with some of the feedback, because they were able to give feedback after we showcased our work, they did say some things about type and going more for your type and changing a little bit. So they obviously saw types. They just didn't like to say the word type. They tried to use something different because they felt like type had a negative connotation. I think it can. I'm not sure. It can. But yeah. So we started. There was another question about Actors Access and the notes section on Actors Access and what to put on the notes section of Actors Access that they would read or see. And all of them said they don't read that section. Now, I have had attached some of my self-tapes to that section, and they have been seen. I can show you that they've been seen. But as far as like they said, as far as words, as far as telling us about this character and what you see for the character, they don't read any of that. So don't waste your time on that, I'm guessing. None of the 5 people in the room read it. So another thing they said was skills. So your skills on your headshot, make sure that if you put any language that you're pretty much fluent in it, not like basic but fluent. If you can do any accents, also put that on there and make sure you can do the accents remarkably well. If you can do horseback riding, or if you're really good like diver or something, be great at any skill that you put on there, because if you they expect you to be great, and if they put you on film and you can only barely do something, it's not going to look good for you. So just make sure your skills are at 100%. And yeah, and I also put singing as a skill. A lot of people assume now that actors are singers. That's not true. They said most of the actors they hire are not singers, like 75%. But if you can sing, put that on there so that they can definitely know that you can sing, so they can see you for other types of roles that maybe involve singing. So that's a good thing to note. Another Q&A that I hadn't told you that is important. honestly, most of them, I told you, they talked about great places to find work being Actors Access and Backstage, which I have given you vlogs on. They talked about your headshots, and make sure you put your name on your headshot. Just because if they for some reason lose the resume part, they will still have your name and contact information. For a headshot though and a resume, if you don't have them like front and back printed that way, you can staple them, but staple them on the four corners so that you make sure that there's no way for it to come off. A lot of people didn't do that, surprisingly, in the showcase that I had, which I was very surprised about because that was one of the first things I learned. And I learned that from seeing other people do it, actually. But you just want to make sure that your headshot and resume are securely fastened together. You also want to make sure your headshot is very natural, you know, not too glamorous. But yeah, so other than that, they said audition for everything, which is something I've said. Other than that, there was really nothing in the Q&A that I haven't told you guys in previous vlogs. So I guess that's good. I guess I'm telling you guys the right stuff. But anyway, so then after the Q&A, we moved into our portion of the showcase where we went down line, we stood in front of everyone, and we performed. We had a reader across from us. We had to perform scenes. Scenes from film or television shows, no theater. So we started doing it, and then we were given feedback afterwards. I was in the back row, like at the last row, so that means I had to hear everyone else's feedback before I went. And if you're like me, that's like death, because then all you start to do is internalizing everybody else's stuff, and it changes completely how you would have done your performance from if you didn't know anything else. I prefer to stand outside, not see everyone else's stuff, not hear all their feedback, because then it just gets in my head, and everything that I was going to do, I'm now not going to do because I'm trying to use everyone else's corrections in my thing, when I probably didn't even need all of those corrections to begin with, when my natural acting will be different from somebody else's natural acting. So every flaw that I had was really kind of somebody else, me trying to cover up somebody else's flaw, so I don't even get to the root of what my flaw is, because I'm so busy trying to cover up everybody else's, which changes my initial acting, which therefore changes my flaws. So that sucks. I hated that. I hated the fact that we had to sit in the room and listen to everybody else's. Also, it was long. It was long, and there was no breaks in between. We actually went overtime. It was supposed to be from 6:30 to 9:30. Now, if you guys know from my vlog, I had been I had probably like an hour and like 15 minutes of sleep. And I've been going to all these auditions back and forth. So to sit there for hours, I was half asleep by the time I went up, to be honest with you. So not only was I focusing on everybody else's flaws, I was also half asleep, and I was just trying to stay awake, to be honest with you. But back to like the rows. So everyone else went up, they did their things, they got their feedback. One of the most something that they said, that the casting director said the most, was to be prepared. They wanted to have the scenes memorized. Like, everyone should have been memorized. They didn't say that at the actors and voice studios. They didn't say that. So quite a few people weren't. Because, you know, most of these people, like, there was a very age range. Like, we had some minors, and we had some people who were like 60. But for people that were older, even for minors, like, they have school, you know, everyone just has jobs. and we just didn't know. Like, so if it's not said, or if we're supposed to get, like, it was supposed to be a reading, like, so I don't know, but they wanted it to be memorized. So I took away from that, always memorize all of your slides. If you're given to them even a day in advance, try and memorize at least half the slide, because it matters. It matters. So memorize as much as you can. Even if you have like 10 other auditions that day, Memorize all 10 if you got slides for all 10. At least memorize half of all 10 and just be ready to go and try not to get confused. Yeah. Honestly, you shouldn't have 10 auditions in a day. That will only wear you out, trust me. But yeah, memorize as much as you can. So they went down the road. I was tired. When they got to me, I did my slide. I got the slide from the website. Now, they gave us a website to kind of like find like slides for TV shows if we didn't have any. I didn't have any because I had never had to find a TV slide and I didn't know where to go. If I was auditioning for a TV show or a film or a movie, they would just give me the slide for their show, for their movie, and then I memorized it. So I didn't have any just from like a well-known TV show. So I just went online, picked one that I thought that had a lot of possibilities. But the bad thing is it didn't tell me really what TV show that was from. I couldn't find the TV show anywhere. I had no clue about like the history or what was happening. So that sucks. And I feel like they should prepare. I feel like if they're going to make that available on their website for you to find slides, they should also make it accessible for you, for these slides to be something that you can look and find the history of. Because who wants a slide when they have no idea what the character is, you know, or no idea what the story or the plot is for this season or this episode or this film. You know, like, you need to know this stuff. And I think that was a disadvantage for anyone who picked something off the website. Not everyone did. Most people did. But for those of us who did, they would ask, oh, is this a TV show? Is it film? Most of them did not know. They just didn't know. Because it was hard to find. Like, I think mine was called Dementia or something. It just should have been, I felt like it just should have been more organized for that factor if we were going to showcase ourselves. But anyway, so I went up there, I did my slide, and I waited to get my feedback. I was tired. I want to get my feedback and get out of there. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was exhausted at this point. It was past the time that I was supposed to go. It was dark outside, and I was in Manhattan having to go all the way back to Queens. So I was also nervous and scared because, first of all, I was hungry too. Second of all, I was nervous and scared because that's a long journey and it was pretty dark. And over in Queens kind of area where my friend lives, it gets really dark. There's not a lot of lights and I didn't feel comfortable walking home. So I was worried about all that. Plus I was getting texts from my friends to, being like, hey, are you coming, like, when are you coming by, and I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be there already. So yeah, I just tried to cut all that out and I performed and I was waiting for my feedback and I got nothing. One of them said that my headshot was a little too glamorous and she wouldn't have noticed it was me. She said I was very beautiful. They all agreed that I was very beautiful, which doesn't really matter to me, but I guess TV film matters. And then the 4 other ones were like, no, her headshot is perfect, it looks just like her. And then one of them was like, well, everything is subjective. One of them said that they thought I was a theater actress, which is correct, and to make it smaller for film, but that was it. And I expected more, like, to be honest with you. Everyone, like, most other people got more feedback than that. Like, I was like the only one that didn't really get anything. Like, even people who were, I don't know, everyone got more feedback than me. Now, the men got more feedback than the women. I will say that. They took a little bit more interest in the men, which was not okay with me, but it's the way of the world. But I got like nothing. And it surprised me because I was here to learn. I was here to get the feedback. That's actually why I paid the $179. or $169, something like that, to do this was to get the feedback, and I got nothing. I got, damn it, I need to align better on my resume so that it's more equal. And that's really it. And then I was pretty, a theater actress, which I did not like. I did not like a theater actress. Okay, fine. Make it smaller. Gotcha. Theater is big. Got it. That's it. I expected more. Most people got more. Like, they were sitting there, which is why we were over time. They were sitting there for like 10 minutes giving feedback. Mine was like 3. So then I left feeling defeated because I had hoped to get all these interesting feedback that I could take and bring to my next audition. And I got like a few things, but that's it. And one of the reasons why I was bringing it into a little bit more theater that time was because I was so sleepy. I was trying to stay connected. And so I couldn't be as relaxed as you have to be for film and small because I was trying to focus. So when he said that, I was like, yeah, I completely agree. I know how to fix that. But I want something more, something that I have to search, for, I don't know. But it didn't happen. Another thing that I did not like, now I know I'm making this process seem really negative. It wasn't. I'm sure some people got some really great stuff out of it. It just didn't do anything for me. Like, it just didn't help me. And I don't feel like it was a waste of money because now I know most likely never to do that again, because it won't help me. But, and so I don't have to wonder about that. But one thing that they did say in the beginning, in the very beginning part of the Q&As that I 100% didn't agree with, was they told everyone in the room, this was before they even saw us perform, this was just a generalization, that everyone in this room, none of you are going to be famous. None of you are, most of you will just have like little jobs and you will struggle and try to get by, but none of you will probably be famous or well known. You'll be like a regular actor who's just going to job, kind of barely making ends meet, and that's just going to be your life, and you have to be okay with that. And if you're looking for more than that, it probably won't happen. I do agree that you should never get into this career for fame. Absolutely not. This is be like reality TV star or something like that. This is not the world for you. But I don't believe that you can tell me, as soon as they said that, in my mind I was like, no. Because I don't believe you can tell me or limit my abilities. No. You don't know the future. You have absolutely no idea where I'm going to be in 10 years. You have no idea what the person next to me, he was this like Hispanic guy, kind of cute, which is why I noticed. You have no idea where he's going to be in 10 years. You have no idea what any of us in this room are going to be. You have no idea what we're even capable of yet. And even if we show you in this showcase like kind of what we're capable of, it's not going to be what we fully are capable of. Because people grow, people change, people take classes and get better and improve. You have no idea, and you cannot limit someone and be generic when you have absolutely no idea what their future holds. You cannot see the future. And if that person, like me, if I say that I'm going to make it, if I say that I'm going to be on a TV show, which they said probably won't happen, if I said I'm going to be on a TV show, then I'm going to be on a TV show. Because listen, let me tell you something. My mom was a single mom, a teen mom. We were very poor. Statistically, from where I'm from and how I came into this world, I should be a teenage mom. Maybe based on like my dad, I might be in prison. Or I could be dead. I mean, I'm a young black female, and so, like, based on like kind of what should have happened for my life, and based on what I've been told from everyone, I shouldn't be where I am today. but I'm here because I decided I'm not going to let somebody else tell me my future. No one can tell you your future. If I had listened to some of those teachers, I would probably be married right now, not even having a career, not being nothing. Which is fine if you really wanted to be married and you wanted to do that, but I didn't want to do that. I was told that I was pretty so I could be dumb. That doesn't work for me. I pride myself on my intelligence. I was told a lot of things about who and what's going to happen to me and what I should be, and given all the statistics about myself, I am nothing like what anyone said or what any statistic has placed on me. So you don't get to decide someone else's future, and you don't get to say that. Now I get it, you're trying to give somebody a rude awakening and be like, hey, this, if you're here for fame, leave. Got you that. Just say that. Just say that fame is not the important thing for an actor. Acting is a craft. Acting is an art. So if you want to be famous, it's going to be a lot of work. If you don't want to put in that work, and if you don't really love this craft and you don't really love your art, then I'm sorry, but acting is probably not for you. But do not say, oh, you know, you're going to be like one of those actors who barely makes ends meet and isn't going to be able to live and has to do all these other things. So that made me mad. But it didn't really make me mad until I left, because it was like the whole process. And then I was like, and she said, and they said this, and they all agreed in the beginning. And when I first heard it, I was just like, no. I just completely tossed that, whatever they just said, out of my mind. So, yeah, that was my experience. For most showcases, it will be like that. You will pay Q&A, performance. Sometimes you perform in front of people, sometimes you perform alone in the room with the panel, which is the way I prefer. I don't know if there's a way to tell like which, for Actors Voice Studios, it didn't say that we were going to be in front of other people, but you can ask in advance. But you have to already, after you pay, they answer any questions that you have, so you already paid, so I don't know. But yeah, so I think a showcase can be great if you're just starting out. Why not? It would be a good way to be seen by these casting directors who probably wouldn't see you otherwise, because they only look at headshot and resume. And if you have nothing on your resume, yeah, be seen. Outside of that, like for me personally, right at this point, it was a mistake. Well, it wasn't a mistake because I did learn something, but it was just not helpful. Maybe if I did a different one, I don't know if it was the studios that I use, like, I might try it again, not with a studio, but maybe a different one, maybe a different type of one, maybe not one for casting directors, maybe one for like show companies, theater companies, I don't know. So but right now that was my experience. So I hope I helped. I hope I give you a little bit of insight, and you can decide for yourself if this is something that maybe you want to try. If you have any more questions for me about the experience, please leave them down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.